G'day beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at Rampage. Going to do a hero guide for him and show you my build, which is called Zoidberg's Cousin. Don't have a lot of time today. My niece is staying with us and there's only so long she can be held back from bursting through my door to have playtime. So we're going to do this super fast, but we're going to get all the informations in. So if you're going to find this video helpful, please drop me a like. I appreciate it very much. It's very helpful. And leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Subscribe if you're not already. But with that said, let's get started. Alright guys, so let's just get straight into it. Starting off with Rampage's general information. He is listed as Durable, Wild Attacker, Initiator, Elusive, Ganker. He has a basic attack of 4, ability attack of 2, durability of 8, and mobility of 7. Looking at his actual stats, he starts the game with 500 health, gains 74.2 per level, and ends up at 1588, which is quite good. He has 2 health regen to start and ends up at 6.2 health regen. And then he has 200 mana, ends up at 704. 0.7 mana regen, which turns into 2, and his armor is 14 for basic armor, which ends up at 31.5 at level 15, and as per usual with every other hero, starts with 20 ability armor, ends up at 30.5. Taking a look at his basic attack, which is called Swipe. His basic attack damage to start off with is 58, which is great. His damage increase per level is 1, which is pretty good. His power scaling is 0.6, which is not the greatest, but he is a fighter, so that's actually quite reasonable. His cleave damage is 20%, so he will do 20% of his damage to minions that are off to the side of the minion you're attacking, for example. And his cooldown is 1.2, meaning you can attack once every 1.2 seconds. Alright, moving on to his first ability, which is what I normally take first anyway. It's his passive, and it is called King of the Jungle. Gain health regen plus additional regen while in jungle. So the regen that he has at level 1 is 0.5, at level 4 is 2, on top of your base health regen. And then while you're in the jungle at level 1 it's actually 3, and at level 4 it's an extra 12. Okay, so this all stacks on top of the regen you already have, and King of the Jungle is right because this health regen is phenomenal. It just makes him quite a beast. He can sustain and just stay and farm, and back when he has a ludicrous amount of points, and it also means that after a team fight he can just head off into the jungle, continue to farm, and not have to back, and just makes him much more efficient than most other junglers. Moving on to his next ability, which is called Pounce. Rampage leaps, dealing ability damage to all nearby enemies when he lands. Activating Swipe causes Rampage to slam down early. So the ability damage is 75 at base level and 195 at max level. The mana cost starts at 55 and ends up at 70 at level 4. The power scaling is 0.4, so that means that for every 100 power you put on your build, you'll get an extra 40 damage towards this ability, and the cooldown is 10 seconds flat. It's a decent ability as it is. It's not the hugest range, it's only a couple of hundred units, and you won't really notice the difference when trying to get away from someone. It's not the greatest escape. It is, however, really useful for a little bit of extra damage while taking out minion camps, and it actually becomes quite a good escape and quite a good reinitiator when you have your ultimate on. So next up we have Bowler Throw. Rampage throws a bowler that deals ability damage and stuns enemy heroes for 2 seconds. Enemy minions hit by the bowler will be displaced. Ability damage starts at 100 and ends up at 295. The mana cost is 75 and ends up at 90, which is quite good. Power scaling is 0.75, which means that you'll get 75 damage for every 100 power you put on your build, and the cooldown is 14 seconds flat. Excuse me. So this is a really good ability. It is possibly the best stun in the game. It's a 2-second stun, which is huge. If you have teammates with you, that's a kill, and it only costs 90. So it's cheaper than some other stuns for how and for how long it actually lasts, it's the best value for money stun you can get. So it's, as I said, if you have a group of heroes with you and you manage to stun someone with this when they are close enough to start attacking, you're pretty much guaranteed to have a kill unless that person you're attacking has some amazing getaways. Alright, now if we move on to his ultimate, which is called Enrage, this is where things get interesting. So Rampage becomes enraged, gaining health regen for the next 12 seconds. Pounce range is greatly increased. Boulder throw can be thrown quickly but at a shorter range. Can be turned off early by re-triggering the ability. So the mana cost for this is 80 and ends up 120 at level 3. The health regen gain that you get is 75 extra health regen at level 1 and 175 at level 3. The cooldown is 80 seconds at level 1 and 40 seconds at level 3, which is huge, and it has a duration of 12 seconds. Okay, so the things that happen when this ability is on, as it says, the boulder throw can be thrown quickly but at a shorter range. It's actually pretty much instant, so there's no more wait till you pick up the boulder and then throw it. It's just the moment you click the trigger, it will throw right at the spot that you are looking at. The pounce range is increased exponentially. I'm pretty sure it's actually 3,000 units, which is pretty much twice the range that someone like Murdoch can attack at, so it's huge. And he just gets so big that no matter what they try to do, they're pretty much going to have to shoot through you. You're a walking wall, and that is what makes Rampage such a good character. He has great CC, and this ability here allows him to soak up so much damage. I'm going to have to pause it for a second while this girl comes in. Okay, so the niece has given me 5 minutes, it sounds like, so we'll wrap it up. So yeah, he's once he's altered, he's an absolute tank. He's a massive wall that is very, very hard to shoot by. His CC becomes that much better because it's instant. He can cop all the damage and then get away with his incredible pounce. The only issue is that although the health regen is quite huge, at later points in the game it's still not quite enough to stand up to the amount of damage you're going to cop off of a group of enemy team members. So Rampage is really good in this this current meta. As I said though, the problem they have is once you get to late game, he can't withstand the amount of damage that people are dishing out. He is actually easy to get rid of, which is why I start to build damage early, because with all your abilities you're allowed to tank a lot of damage, do a lot of damage, but when you get to late game, it's not possible to keep him copping the damage he needs to cop while still building damage, so you need to get rid of some of that and start to build tanky. So I'll show you that the way that I do that in a minute. It's not the most efficient way that I do it, but it's the build that I use, and it, for the most part, it works. So I know this has been a little bit probably a little bit less informative than my normal hero guides, but I'm actually in a super rush right now. Denise is walking in the door every sort of minute, and she is getting really, really cranky and wants to go out and play. So I apologize profusely for that. It's hopefully I've given you enough information in here to so you could learn a little bit about Rampage, and hopefully you enjoy this build. So we'll move on to the build. Alright, here we are over on the Paragon deck builder, and a look at the Zoidberg build. It's a total of 80 CP, so there's a lot of stuff in here. Okay, so we're going to build tanky in the end, so we're going for the Centurion. That's going to give us 500 max health, and it's going to give our minions more health, which is much of a muchness, really. Alright, I pretty much just have 2 cast tokens in this. This build is personal preference, okay? I don't take a scythe or a siphon or anything along those lines. I take Madstone Gems, and I normally take my circle first, unless they are group ganking mid, so I don't choose my ability straight up, and I just base what I'm doing off of that. But 99% of the time I take my health regen first, so I take Madstone Gems. Alright, so I have 4 Madstone Gems in this build. 3 of them are my early games, They're all 1 point upgrades on them. Okay, so they're Madstone Gems with minor strikes or minor casts. Okay, and then I have one that is a 6 point card that has 2 minor casts or strikes and 1 strike or cast. Okay, so it ends up with 6 points. So towards the start of the game, I work towards getting these 4 cards done. And then if we move on over to here, I have a Sage's Ward as a 9 point card. I also have a Brawler's Ward with no upgrades. This is my throwaway card that I take at the start of the game. Go and put it down and back and delete it. Okay, and then I'll go into a Madstone Gem. So normally what I'll do is I'll get a Madstone Gem finished, I'll grab my Sage's Ward, and then I'll go do my other 2 Madstone Gems, finish on my 6 point Madstone Gem. And then from there I will go into my health, which is an Amulet of the Veteran as a 9 point card. So it has 3 healths on it, 3 2-point healths. And from here is where I really start to build tanky. Okay, so I'm going to end up getting rid of 3 of these Madstone Gems, but I have a Whirling Wand to replace the attack speed with and get a bit of extra damage. So if I'm doing pretty well at this stage and I'm not, we're kind of crushing it in team fights and not having to tank much damage, I will go for my Whirling Wand first. The Whirling Wand has a major strike and 2 major kinetics. So that's a major strike or a major cast, and either 3 major kinetics or 3 brutal kinetics. Okay, and then if I'm grabbing that, the next thing that I have to get is my Boneplate or my Snakevine Mesh, whichever one I take first is determined on who's doing more damage to me. Oh, she's crying again. The Spike Boneplate if basic attacks are my biggest issue. Snakevine Mesh if ability damage is my biggest issue. Okay, so we'll be getting rid of the other Madstone Gems, and we'll be slotting on these 2 cards here. Okay, so if we go and test the build just to sort of show you how I do it. So I'll put my Brawler's Ward on. Okay, I will go up, I will place that ward, I'll back and I'll get rid of it. I'll grab a Madstone Gem and I'll upgrade it once. Okay, from here I try to come back with 5 points so that I can grab my Sage's Ward and I can finish this off. Okay, and then from here it is just work towards getting all my 5 point Madstone Gems done, and then getting my 6 point Madstone Gem, and then maxing out my Sage's Ward, and then from here I go into health, and now we've got a full build. Okay, but we need to replace stuff. Alright, so I don't really like, most of the time I don't like getting rid of some damage. I like to take the Whirling Wand, but if I have to, I have to, okay? But the majority of the time, I will actually get rid of that, and I'll put a Whirling Wand on instead. Okay, so actually, we should just look at what we end up here. So at this point in the game, we're probably at around about level 12, I would dare say. We'd be sitting on 180 power. Our attack speed would be 128.6, and our max health would be at 1866. Okay, and then from here, like I said, we'll get rid of one of these. We'll chuck the Whirling Wand on. We'll probably get up to about level 15 by now, so we'll be on 174 power, 174.4 attack speed, which is great, and then our max health will be at 2089. Okay. And the only thing from here is actually to, I feel like at the end of the game we need to tank a lot more, so at the end of the game we'll get rid of these 2 and we'll go into our resistances. Okay, a lot more health would actually be really nice, but I want to keep this damage on that I actually have, so that is why I do it this way. Another good way to do it would be to actually run health on your ward as well, but if you see, we're still on 126 power, which doesn't seem like much, but considering the fact that we get our ult back so quick, we're going to be doing a lot of damage anyway. We'll be sitting on 163.4 attack speed, we'll be sitting on 2089 health, and we will have 106 basic damage resistance, and we will have 79 ability resistance, which is pretty okay. Keep in mind that we're going to have massive health regen, we're going to be a huge target, we're going to be copying damage, throwing rocks and getting out. So that is my build for Rampage called Zoidberg's Cousin. I hope you find it useful, guys. So I'll write the build out in the description down below. If you do go on to enjoy it, if you did actually go on to enjoy this video and you found it useful in any way, shape or form, please smash that like button, guys. It helps me a lot and I really appreciate it. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think, or if you have any suggestions whatsoever. And subscribe if you're not already. But as per usual, guys, thank you so much for watching. I love your face, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.